to cut off all diplomatic relationship, arms deals, whatever relationship with the United States of America, is because a lot of countries have done the same. America is not coming to help, the blah, and the fact that they are saying they want to come and take out the terrorists, they cannot be trusted and all that. So Nigeria should call the supposed ambassador, American ambassador to Nigeria, and tell them to pack and leave. But I don't think anybody is listening to him though.
Hukuma ce tun lokacin za ta kira ambassador ta ce a janye wannan tsoratarwar, a kore shi, a yanke hulɗan jekadanci. Domin wannan cin zarafin ‘yancinmu ne. Wani can zai ce a'a in wayannan ‘yan ta'addan ba mu iya maganinsu, to meye laifin an samu wani mai ƙarfi wanda zai maganinsu? Wani zai iya faɗan haka. Allah ya gaya muna cikin Qur'ani sai yaqulu sufaha'u minan nasi ma wallahu ma qiblatuhum allati kanu alaiha. Akwai wawayen mutane wanda tunaninsu ɗan ƙarami ne, gajeren tunani gare su. Wanda ta fi ɓarnar da 'yan ta'addan gasken suke yi. Wannan mutumin nan ba ƙasar da ya shiga ba a kore shi ba, sai an kore shi. Wannan mutumin hannun shi dumu-dumu da jinin mutane, ƙananan yara, mata. Har in kana neman taimakon Allah da mujrimi za ka nemi taimakon Allah? Barawo ya shigo maka gidanka sai ka je ka ɗauko sarkin ɓarayi, wai shi zai zo ya kore maka barawo? Alhali a duniya akwai zaɓi. Wa man yuhajir fi sabilillahi yajid fil ardi muragaman kathiran wa sa'a. Akwai zaɓi mai yawa. Muna da mutane kwanan nan kuka ga Kano suka hori 'yan sandan ciki ko? Ba ku ga mazaje ba da mata? Me suke bukata? Makami kawai. Makamin nan za mu samu shi ta hanyoyi da yawa.
Àbọ̀lọ̀fẹ́ bá tiẹ̀ jẹ́ níbo ló ti mọ̀ mí bó lè ti mi àti ẹ ti dàpọ̀, kí ló dé mi àti ẹ pọ̀. Àbọ̀lọ̀fẹ́ bá tiẹ̀ jẹ́ níbo ló ti mọ̀ mí bó lè ti mi àti ẹ ti dàpọ̀, kí ló dé mi àti ẹ pọ̀. Àbọ̀lọ̀fẹ́ bá tiẹ̀ jẹ́ níbo ló ti mọ̀ mí bó lè ti mi àti ẹ ti dàpọ̀, kí ló dé mi àti ẹ pọ̀. Àbọ̀lọ̀fẹ́.
I mean, that's how some of us should ordinarily feel. Like, number one, you probably didn't even understand Jack from all he said, Abi. Normally, if not because say they matched us together as one country, somebody like that, the same way some of you only hear about Niger Republic, and you don't actually really give a hoot about what happened in Niger Republic. These people would have been part of Chad, Niger, or even Burkina Faso. So you, that is not part of Nigeria, will be reading the news. If you stumble on it, I say, what's he saying? And then you hear that he's speaking on behalf of the terrorists in the Sahel, asking their government to, to sever ties with America when it comes to so and so. I say, is he mad? But it feels different when this is Nigeria and he's actually talking about your country. It's kind of like different. You just be like, man, why did God bring me together with this kind of people, with this kind of mindset, for goodness sake, right? But he's not alone. And that is why he's got a voice. There are millions who thinks like him, who feels like him. And somehow you may probably realize that their own picture of Nigeria is different from your own picture of Nigeria. So contrary pictures of a country in this Nigeria context is enough to give you, to give you all you need to know why this Nigeria is what it is. Why is it like this? Why is it not working? We have different pictures of that Nigeria. Some of you from southern part of Nigeria, you just want to probably just go to school, get a job, or start a business, start a family, you know, and do your owambe, your faji, your this and that, and then die. And I believe that is primarily should be the primary, probably, everyone's desire to kind of find your own happiness in a system that works for everyone. But you realize that in that same system, there are people who have made it their own life goal to raise people of different perspective, of different kind of like Nigeria. And they are ready to die for that Nigeria that they think you should have. You see that contradictory view, right? Is what Nigeria is. So Gumi, you will look at him and say, why is Gumi not arrested? Why have they not arrested this man? Why are they not questioning him? And then you realize that you are speaking from the lens of your own Nigeria. Because to you, this is like ridiculous. This is ludicrous. That's another word for it. Ludicrous. Ludicrous. Even the way the words sound, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like unbelievable. Then you are wondering, why is the government not doing something? Then you see other people who are like, no, he's saying the truth. You need to see it from his own side. It's coming from a region where there is millions of out-of-school children, and these children are called al-majuri, and there are people who are taking advantage of them, radicalizing them. And so you can't, and you'll be like, okay, like, I don't understand. Is the government not practicing what is called the Operation Safe Corridor, which gives any repentant, violent person or group, terrorists to be precise, right, that decided to leave violence and to pursue peace, like, so they won't even face any form of, judicial kind of prosecution or anything. They are forgiven. Isn't that the window for those people you are referring to? And the ones who have chosen not to pursue that route of peace, why are you talking for them? Why are you speaking up for them? And that gives you like, it makes your mind so troubled. Because to some of you, it's going to be like, if they have arrested this Gumi, maybe there will be no more. No, there are thousands of Gumi. Gumi is just prominent. There are thousands of them with the same mindset, some of them so skilled than that of Gumi. And they are all existing from a place, a system that has been sustained for decades, tolerated for decades. This region where decisions, when it comes to policy formulation, law making, and what have you, even law implementation, right? They have to consider them first in this union. So people who come from that background, and you that comes from the probity background, the background that you have to actually be up to standard, you have to meet some certain stuff, you have to compete, all that stuff. It's a different world. I know Rufaya, Kaduna Littlefinger, 10 years ago, right? Before he became the butcher of Kaduna, remember him? He once said something about federation. If Nigeria only practices true federalism alone, and you know something about a true federalism, it is that every federating unit that exists will be according to the wish of the people. For instance, your current estate creation, just like the way Africa was partitioned by the colonizers, the Fulanis and their friends, the internal and external friends. They were able to put a system after the Civil War, to put a system that decided to divide Nigeria simply by just, by just calling the meeting of a few people who then decided how the map should go. What should we call this place? We'll call it Edo. What about this one here? Keep going, keep going. We'll call it Delta. Okay, what about this one next to it? Okay, you know what? Keep going, keep going. They didn't care if the line they are drawing have people, right, divided because of this their state creation. Then you get to see some people who become minority here, all on purpose. No referendum. People were never asked, what would you like your state to be called? Would you like to merge with this, and that? None of that happened. They were mere, including the constitution of the country, written by selected people, and then foisted on the country. And just like that, everybody just went like, okay, yeah, we could probably maneuver, yeah. But 10 years ago, El Rufaya, maybe using Takia, was talking about true federalism. He was there for 8 years as governor, and his political party actually was still very much in power, by the way. But this was like 10, 11 years ago.
A federation that has no federalism. Okay? When you have a country like Nigeria with over 500 different ethnic groups, the only system of government that can work is a federation that allows each community or each grouping to develop at its own pace and to design a system of administration that is unique to that community. One size fits all does not work in a country like Nigeria that is so diverse. We were a federation until the military coup of 1966. Since then, we have tended towards centralization. And that has still not left us. Okay? The federal government is too powerful. The states are too weak. And the local governments are almost non-existent because they have been destroyed by the state governments. Now, for us to try to get back on track, we have to try to be a true federation. And that has some serious implications on the entitlement culture, on the way we do things, and on our politics. Now, I have told you the problems. I will now quickly try to propose some solutions, which is what I think is a medium-term roadmap for realizing the Nigeria of our dreams. And I hope that will happen in my lifetime. That means in the next 20 years, because we don't live long in my family. Now, how are nations built? Let me, as we celebrate Nigeria's 100 years, remind you of 3 realities about nation building. The first, that most nations are artificial. Okay, so those that are saying that the amalgamation of Nigeria was some white people did it, were not, are talking crap. Most countries were artificially created. There are very few countries. Even United Kingdom is an artificial creation. Scotland, Wales, England, they have histories of killing and fighting each other. Okay? So our amalgamation by whoever, by whatever, in my view, in my opinion, is an act of God. God meant us to be together. If you look at the population density of the African continent, you will know that Nigeria is God's creation. It was not Lugat's creation. In one little corner of Africa, God decided to put all these energetic people and put so much of the continent's resources. Nigeria has every mineral. Obi will tell you, she was mining minister. A federation.
Nuisance, Lele. How many times would they tell you before you know that Nigeria is not for you? Ah! Now they never leave you. They have left you behind. Photo, not be juju be that. Sorry, oh. May God not allow them, make them kill you. 70 years old man. I am mumu na too much. You be mumu. You think say they wise.
Yeah. He later became governor and also defended the fakest of the fakest a regime of Bokwari while they pillaged Nigeria. And now they have a Milocon, Tinubu in charge. He's been fenced. He's now in the opposition. But he's not wrong, right? So no, it's not completely wrong. Not like it's not wrong, okay? Completely wrong. No, it's not. Where he is very much right is that, one, yeah, no country, maybe few countries were like intentionally created. You get what I mean? History have that, like countries are mostly artificially created until they become whatever they have become. Like, that's partially true. But in the case of Nigeria, where he is also right, is that if there was a true federalism, okay, and true federalism means people want it. People want to be part of this arrangement. And there are so many things to consider. If Nigeria is practicing true federalism, there will be nowhere in this world that any central government would dare stay behind murderous Fulani terrorists by trying to enact laws that will steal people's lands and give it to these supposed non-Nigerians and protect them. There's no federal government that would dare do that. It's not possible. Do you get what I mean? There is nowhere that any Fulani armed terrorist will be seen beyond the border of wherever is their own region in Nigeria. Trespassing means you are now venturing into the territory that is completely different from yours, and you are not protected if you bring in violence. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah, true federalism could guarantee that. Or saying that, the amalgamation and whatever this that is put together and the rest of that is an act of God. No, it is not. Take God out of it, please. He is right. Where he also said, you see, if Nigeria is to work, that means we have to remove the entitlement mentality. What is that entitlement of Nigeria? In Nigeria, this is not even like entitlement that is meant for everyone. No. The entitlement mentality is the fact that 80 to 90% of the owners of the supposed oil blocks in Nigeria, those who have the highest stake there, they are from northern part of Nigeria. While those who are actually the owners of the crude oil that Nigeria depends on so much for decades, right, have no real stake there. Or probably patry kind of like a stake. That is the entitlement. An entitlement that has made so many of, especially northern Nigeria, to become poorer, despite the fact that, they have benefited so immensely from Nigeria's benevolence or Nigeria's generosity when it comes to beneficiaries from every region of that country. Yeah, talking about those who privatize Nigeria's resources. They have. And yet, they can't let Nigeria go. If you bring any idea that says everybody should handle their own affairs, develop at their own pace, establish their own laws, guidelines, or kind of like a government they want, in that order, you get, they will say, oh, it's going to affect the entitlements of some people. And then they will fight it. So that's why we are where we are right now. That is why you and I have to be worried about the strength of this terrorist having field day in Nigeria, and the Nigerian government looking so helpless, and you and I remain vulnerable, like living for the day, being careful, avoiding the roads. You know what I mean? Being so limited in because of fear, because the government have become so overwhelmed. One Nigeria. But where everybody is allowed to arrange and probably like govern themselves in the real true sense of it, and remove this your one Nigeria constitution that makes one man so powerful, and then make the other federating units subordinate. That's why you have governors today who are ready to kiss the ring, bend the knees, to the president, because he is the only one who can do and undo. That is because of the fake constitution. It doesn't matter who is there. Anyone, could wield that power is there. There's no country that moves forward in that sense, right? But El Rufai is probably not a very good